I was sitting down in my kitchen, all the way back there, and Kevin made a comment about his Alexa, and so
going.
I had to stop saying that word. So I was
Megan.
like,
"Say Megan, we know who you're talking about."
Yeah. So just as a joke, I was like, Andrea, play Rush, and Kevin's like, shut up, it'll start doing it, and then we're laughing, and then like 20 minutes later, I go upstairs, and as I'm going up the steps, I'm hearing something on the second floor, and I'm thinking to myself, there's nobody here. What the fuck is this noise?
That's got to be weird if you live alone.
It was very spooky. And as I started getting upstairs, I started realizing it was music. I walk into Dritz's room, and a Rush song is playing.
Oh, cool.
I was like, what the fuck? So I didn't realize he has one in his bedroom.
And it's named
heard me all the way down here, and it was probably playing for like 20, 30 minutes worth of music. Yeah.
Recording forever.
My kids
probably, listen to everything we say.
Yeah, I'm not going to record this. I'm just going to pull it off of Alexa later.
Alexa, play the soundtrack to Cats.
See, I don't think that's loud enough. So
yeah.
Go fuck yourself, Jessie.
Yeah.
What?
That was Alexa. Sorry.
Oh.
No, I saw Ian. I saw your lips moving. It was you.
No,
Ian, I have a question. Are you gonna get on camera, or are you just gonna do this the whole time?
Yeah, we're gonna be like
you.
Well, listen, I don't have a top to my head. There you go. You do. So
yeah, I like the fireplace.
Ian, do this when we start. Oh, hey, didn't see you there.
Yeah. He's got to swivel in.
You have like
Can you swivel?
I love that.
Should I put this up higher?
Yeah, Ian is such a commercial actor. He's got the camera as high as possible.
He has a camera
drop,
it's not commercial. It's not a commercial actor. It's an aging fat neck.
No. Oh, mine is so bad. Oh.
Which is better?
That's perfect. Can you put it on your roof?
It's like a difference of 20 years.
Hey, this is Steve with the Punch Up Podcast. With me on this episode are Ian O'Shea.
Hey, Steve.
Dave Jadico.
Hey, Steve.
Jessie Preisendorfer.
Hey, Steve.
And in the storyteller chair, Kevin Regan.
Hey, Steve. How are you?
I'm good. Kevin, how are you?
Good.
Take it away, buddy.
So I'm going to tell a story about Little League. So, we can actually do this by show of hands. Who has played Little League before? No? Okay.
They weren't letting girls play when I was young enough.
Which is funny because this story ultimately revolves around a team with a girl on it. So I played in a group called East Side Little League, and they still exist.
Can you give us a pitch for Bad News Bears?
This is my pitch. Yeah. Chico's bail bonds.
East side of
Chester County.
It was Liberty bail bonds, wasn't it? Liberty bail bonds.
No, Chico.
That was Liberty Bell?
Yeah, it was a bell. I don't think it was Liberty Bell. It was a bell, and then it was Chico bail bonds.
Oh, it was Liberty.
Missed opportunity by them.
Yeah. So east side of what?
I think Chester County, the east side of Chester County, I guess.
Okay.
Our hat said ESLL, and then when you got older, the hat just said ES because you weren't in Little League, but it was still part of the East Side League.
Yeah.
So East Side.
Is that the right side of the tracks in Chester County, or what's that? Is that the nice part of town?
All sides of the track in Chester County are the right side of the track. Chester County is very wealthy overall. So, which is funny because even that alone, like, when you're a kid, you don't understand any of that. But now going back at stuff, I'm like, oh, that's why we had like a fully stocked snack bar at our field and like an electronic scoreboard. And this is back in the 80s.
White privilege!
Without a doubt. Like, and again, typical privilege, had no clue whatsoever. I had no idea.
That was the world.
Yeah. Well, it was our world.
Yeah.
So what age are you at this point? Because Little League could go from like 6 years old to up.
I'm probably the story I'll be about 9, but okay. I'm going to jump around in different time periods of Little League. So Eastside Little League started with T-ball. So, the T, the ball, which I just complete coincidence tonight. My daughter is in a league called the Media. I'm not going to get it right. I forget. It's MAGS is an acronym, and they're fantastic. It's a great league. I love it a lot. And they just sent an email out tonight that the season's canceled, which stinks.
Oh.
Yeah, but they did say they're sending everybody their money back. It was like all up front in the email, and I was like, well, and I told Julie, and she was like, well, that's something. So Eastside Little League started off with T-ball, and it was one of those things. You show up, you're automatically on a team. It's just you're picked out of a group. There's a good chance your dad is the coach. I know my first league, the father.
You show up, like you all show up to the field and they just pick you then?
It's probably done in advance, but like you show up and you know nothing because you're a little 6-year-old kid. You know nothing. Yeah. You're handed your jersey and your hat, and you're just like, this is your team. These are your teammates.
The kids know nothing. As a dad who just finished coaching 4th and 5th graders, it's also a sign of that nobody got it together. And so they're just like, everybody just show up and we'll pick teams. No dad wanted to step up and be like, I'll be the commissioner. I'll organize everything. They're just like,
send out all the emails.
Pick teams,
They don't just do it by height, like tall guy, tall guy, tall guy, next tall guy, next tall guy, next tall guy.
Yes, like one team's really good and then another team sucks.
No, I meant like, I mean, you put them by height and then you
every team gets a tall guy.
Yeah. So the real tall guy and the primordial dwarf are on the same team together. It works out in the end.
Who gets the Cuban exchange student?
The real good hitter. Yeah.
For baseball.
So, T-ball's T-ball, whatever. And then we move on to what we used to call the farm league. And I don't know
Kevin,
why.
Let me ask, were you the pitcher primarily?
For T-ball?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
No,
Ian's laughing because he thinks Kevin would be a catcher, right?
I wasn't. So I was a catcher.
I'm laughing because Kevin has got out 7 words.
I know. I miss this podcast so much. I was the catcher once we stopped with the T. I was a catcher, and I caught for a while, but I had, as a little kid, I had not bad knees, but like the equipment sucked. It was like, it was old equipment. It was probably from the 60s.
You look exactly like a kid who was 8-year-old with knee problems.
And it's like grunting every time you got up. Ugh,
no, I didn't even think
too old for this.
He's a kid in the dugout with like bags of ice on his knees.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. There was this kid that could throw a fastball. This was when we got a little older. His name was Dan Ford. This wasn't even part of my story. This kid could throw a fastball that was so crazy I could not catch it, and it would move, and it would hit me in the knee, and I had on,
it would move.
Yeah, but I mean, like not like
it's like it got closer to Earth as it got closer to the home plate.
It would move.
No, it had movement. Like not like it would like he could throw curveballs and stuff like that. As a kid.
At 9?
No, this is a little bit later, but not much. It's like 11, maybe 11 or 12.
Right. Junk.
He had some junk, yeah. I would get hit in the knees, and I would have to like come out of the game because it was so bad. Maybe I just didn't catch.
Bad knees.
Not now.
Did he ride a motorcycle?
Yes, yeah. He had a Harley. Does that turn you on?
Maybe.
That's the line, Steve. That's the line from Bad News Bears. Is that what you were going for?
Think so.
Yes.
Kelly Leak?
Well, I was going for Kelly Leak. Yeah, I didn't know about the turning on part.
That's what he says. I got a Harley. Does that turn you on? Nobody.
I don't remember that.
So anyways.
How much time do we have left on Zoom?
2 minutes. 10 minutes.
So the different fields that Eastside Little League had, which 3 of them they still have, which blows my mind. One was March Field. That was like their main field. That's right off of, you can see it when you're on 202. You can literally see it when you look over off down, what is that there? Westchester Pike, basically, the Newtown Square exit. And that was like an amazing field. That's the one that had the scoreboard. It had a fence all the way around it. Now it's got advertisements on it. It has a snack bar that was like fully loaded, and they also had like all their equipment and stuff there. So like
super boxes, mascot.
Yes, with
dugouts,
luxury. Yeah, it was. They did have
Chicky and Pete's in the outfield.
I don't doubt that they advertise there now, but like
if you caught a foul ball, could you turn it in for a popsicle like we could at our little league?
That's nice.
That's nice.
If you hit a foul ball, you could put it into the parking lot and hit a car. And if a kid really
hit a Mercedes, you mean? Right.
Yeah, and that's exactly a Lexus, BMW. If a kid really smashed one, which only the younger kids play there. They probably play up until about like 11 or 12 there, and then they move into the bigger fields. If I would say one of us, but let's be honest. But if somebody who knew what they were doing went in there, they could absolutely put a ball up on the 202 easily.
So that's a no for popsicles?
Correct.
I don't think you got an answer. Oh, you did. Okay.
No, as far as I know, you don't turn them in for popsicles. I think you just do it out of the kindness of your heart, or you keep it for your insurance adjuster. And they. So the two fields down the street were called Cooper Field, named after, I think, Debbie Cooper, which I only know that because I was reading about it tonight. And there were these two little fields.
Debbie Cooper?
Debbie Cooper, the one and only Deborah Cooper. Those two fields have no fences around them, and they were mostly for the T-ball teams and for the kids that played in the slightly above, like where, you know, they would start throwing and the minors would play there, the minor league, as opposed to the major league up at Marchfield. Yeah. I did not make it to the majors after playing T-ball. You play T-ball? What's that? Because of my knees? Word got out. They go, this kid's got weak knees. We don't want him. No. I couldn't hit a ball. I was never great with a bat. I didn't learn how to actually hit a baseball. That you actually, I didn't learn that you're using your
the other end of the bat.
Yeah, I didn't. Like, I always used my backhand, so I had no power. Yeah.
It's so light at the end.
Yeah, it moves too quick.
They're always breaking.
Those inside fastballs?
Yeah.
See,
we got to make fun of him more when he's drinking. I just realized.
Yeah, I thought you guys were going to, so I figured that was a good time.
We'll get it down. Oh, here's an opportunity.
Go ahead. Go.
Rich benefactor.
I can't wait till this story gets cut off.
Mercedes, Lexus.
So, yeah, the Mercedes and Lexus field doesn't even come back into play here. This story takes place on Cooper Field. And on Cooper Field, when I was probably about like 11, 12 years old, I was playing in the minors. I hadn't made it to the majors yet. And I can't for the life of me remember the name of my coach. He was a really nice guy.
Walter Matthau.
He was a Walter Matthau-like character, although Tom Hanks.
Brian Dennehy.
Mixed, maybe.
Gary Cooper.
Cooper Field.
You went too far.
Brian Keith.
He was a heavier fella. If I was casting him in a movie, I would cast
Brian Keith.
Who?
Brian Keith from.
Yeah, fine. I'll give it to you, Jessie, because you're going to keep saying it if I don't. Brian Keith, that's who it would be. He reminded me a little bit of oh my God, Charlie Manuel. That's who he reminded me of, like a younger version. Mm. He was like a very hillbilly guy. He would wear the hat, but I never remember him wearing the shirt, like our team shirt, because he would wear like overalls. He was literally like a farmer. And he and his wife lived right off the field. So they would actually walk out of their home and come to the field, and they would
their field touched your field. Like it was
they didn't
like
really
corn and then baseball.
Yes, it's very Field of Dreams. Like if they had a field, it would touch ours, but they didn't have a lot of money. So in that sense, this is that part of Chester County. What's that?
Well, what kind of farmers?
No, they weren't actually farmers. They looked like farmers. Right. He would wear overalls. I have no doubt he was probably a farmer at some point in his life, and he just ended up here right at the lip of Cooper Field. And again, I wish I could remember their names. They were sweet as could be. They were really, really nice people.
Did he have a kid on the team?
Yes. Okay. He had a little girl who was on the team. Don't remember her name either. She had long red hair. Really nice kid. Nobody on the team was particularly good. That's why we were on this team. But we weren't terrible. Like we won some games, lost most of them. And this was when I learned I was extremely fast. I was a very, very fast kid. So if I could get on base, I would steal every base. Yeah, every base, including.
And at that age, the catchers couldn't throw hard enough to reach that far. Yeah.
Yeah, and even if they I had like a whole system set up where I would take my lead off of.
And full of dirt in the kid's eyes. Go.
That's a better system. I
wish I great.
Kevin went in with spikes out every time.
Yep. Ty Cobb, that thing every time. Yeah.
Wouldn't they have to wait? Wouldn't you have to wait till the Wouldn't you have to wait till the ball hit the catcher to run? Like,
no, that's old man rules. That's like that's softball rules.
That's what we had to do in the Little League.
That's slow pitch softball rules.
Yes.
That's not even in fast pitch. You can take a lead before the pitcher pitches.
Yeah, I did that with dodgeball. We played dodgeball recently. I wouldn't let people take leads, and I think that some people took great exception to that, and that's too bad because.
I think you mean kickball.
Yeah.
Did I say that? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I said dodgeball. Kickball. Correct. Yeah. You can take a lead in dodgeball, I guess. So I would actually take a lead off of first, and like a big lead, to the point where I knew the pitcher was going to throw back to first, and I would do it on purpose. So he would throw back to first, and I would get back just in time. And that was my plan. That was my gambit every time. And so that the pitcher would be like, I almost got him. And then I would take a bigger lead.
Are you suggesting you came up with the idea to take a lead and make it to the base before the catcher threw you out?
I think that's where we're heading, but
No. I'm saying I was a little kid who, if I got on base, I was going to score. Because I would either get hit, I would get walked, or I'd hit like one of those little nubbers where I'd have to run it out to first base because I couldn't get on.
But as long as you got on first, that meant a run.
That's almost all the time.
Right.
But hold on. Your strategy would be that you would extend the lead.
Yeah.
Throwing back, but then how would that pay off?
Well, see, I would take the lead, let them throw to first, and I would get back just in time. Say it again.
You know who you would have been drafted by? The Moneyball guy.
Oh, yeah.
You're a numbers guy.
Yeah.
You're like, get him on base, that's a run.
Yeah, Billy Bean wouldn't want me because I couldn't get on base, though. He'd be like, forget it. It's not worth it.
You'd be super cheap, and you're worth it.
You know what? I would be a good base runner. That's what I would have sat on the bench, and then they would have had, although they don't use that in the American League, base runners that often. So Billy Bean would be like, I got no time for him.
How was your hair back in these days?
I had decent hair. Yeah. I didn't know what to do with it until I was in high school. The day I figured out what to do with my hair, it started falling out.
You have just a bowl cut, or do you have a feather?
No, a little feathery. I never touched it. Like, it was like calicky and like, a typical kid where I was just like, I don't have time for this. I got bases to steal. I got time to run a comb through my hair.
You should have paid attention to your hair.
I know. Well, now I have no hair, so hence this, my shame cap. So what I would do is after they threw back to first and I got back just in the nick of time, I would take a bigger lead. As soon as the pitcher would make the motion to first, I was already gone for second.
Gone.
Yeah. And I was very, very fast. And part of that was because I wasn't even going to tell this part, but this is a good part too. I had an issue with my Achilles tendon when I was a little kid.
Jesus. You were brittle.
And the doctors, we went to
your head wasn't put onto a POW's body?
It's very possible. It's very possible. Actually, this is good. I'm glad this part came up because
Kevin, you're allowed to go back to Earth, but it's a very sick child. I'll take it.
Well, all we have are these parts.
I'll do it.
So I did. I had my Achilles tendon wasn't long enough, and so I walked on my toes, which nowadays is no big deal. But back in the 80s, that was a big deal for like a boy to walk on his toes, I guess, because 80s. And this is like, when I say 80s, I mean like 80. It was like 1980, 1981.
I'm trying to process what it looked like if you just walked around on your toes.
Always.
And he was fast.
Yeah. Well, because of this. So, and
when
I'll tell you,
it wasn't just don't get around, right?
He was standing on his toes, so if he would get launched off his own feet.
No. It's because my parents took me to DuPont, and DuPont, the first doctor they saw, wanted to cut my Achilles tendon, and actually they would take a cow's tongue back then and they would sew them together so that they would stretch out my Achilles tendon. And my dad said, well, will he be able
Will he moo when he runs?
Will he moo? My dad said, will he be able to run? And the doctor said, well, no, he'll never run again, but he'll probably be able to walk. And my dad was like, we're not doing this.
Wow.
Yeah. He was like, and again, this is 1980. So then they found another doctor named Dr. Pizzatella. I do remember his name. And he was like, no surgery. And what he would do is he would make me do exercises where I would stand on a step, on the end of a step with my foot, and I would have to do this to stretch out my Achilles tendon. And then every so many months, like every 3 or 4 months, they would take my foot and actually put it in the cast so that it was, I can't get my.
Yeah, I got
Damn. But to straighten my foot out and cast
it.
Yeah. And then
I'm shocked your parents didn't just take you out back and shoot you.
They knew I could run bases. No.
What did they do with the 2 cow tongues? Did they already cut them out at this point?
Yeah, those cows were done. They were like, what are we gonna do with it? They turned them into sandwiches.
Are you made of flubber?
I can't. That's so. The fact that they just had to stretch them, that was it. You just needed physical therapy.
Yeah. But this is probably in a time, and I'm not going to speak on this, but there probably was not physical therapy. Clearly not the way there is now.
I guess.
So, in fact, it was funny. I remember seeing Forrest Gump where he's got those.
I'm sorry.
My brother had one of those.
Are you suggesting you invented
those braces? Yeah.
Physical therapy, too.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. You do not get the credit you deserve, Kev.
A lot of claims tonight.
No. When Forrest Gump was running and he's got those braces on, I had those braces. So when I saw that and they broke off and that's the run, Forrest, run. And people in the theater are like, ha. I sat there and I was like, fuck you guys. I went through this. That
could happen.
Yeah, that is a real thing.
Yeah.
So screw you. But because I would always have casts on when they would cut them off, I was walking around with all this extra weight and I basically had waders on my baseball bat or donuts and you cut them off your legs. So I was a fast little kid.
Okay. So long story short, you had no friends.
Long story short, no friends, very fast if I could get on base, which I never could. So I would steal every base, including home. And this particular coach would always be like, you have to stop stealing home. But I never got caught, or rarely. I mean, once in a blue moon.
What, he didn't like winning?
I think it was a bad, it's not a best practice to teach like an 11-year-old to steal
It's
home.
a little bit of showmanship.
Well, you know what's up.
Yeah.
So one day, game played, game ends. Now I have 2 brothers. So my parents were always going all over the place to drop us off, pick us up. Most of the time they're staying at games. Not always though, because again, 2 other brothers, a lot of moving parts. So one day, game ends, everyone's leaving. I'm looking around for mom and dad. My dad was supposed to pick me up. Nobody there. So the coach sat with me, and it was a husband and wife coach. They sat with me for a while, and like a good while, like to the point where it started getting dark out. And my coach said, "Are you sure your parents know you're here?"
They're like, "Do you want to come live with us?"
Yeah. So
we could use a son.
And this
do you think it's about your ankles, Kevin?
Yeah. They finally gave up. They're like, look, we've got 2 boys who have good legs. This one, a dud.
Put all our money in them.
Yeah.
Look, no offense, Eric and Brian were never going to steal home plate. That was not going to happen.
Yeah, but they didn't have cow ankles.
That's true. Or cow-like hair. So.
It's the technical Latin name for it, cow ankle.
So I ended up going actually to call my parents at their house. Like, called and my mom answered.
But you had a non-working finger to go with your knees and your Achilles finger? You couldn't dial the number?
Why? What do you mean? I went to their house. It was right there. I missed it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Was that the button? Are we done?
No.
Oh, no.
Definitely not.
Ding, ding, ding.
So my mom answered the phone. My mom hates this story. My mom answered the phone and did not. She was like, "Where's your father?" And I was like, I don't know. So my dad was at our neighbor's house because they were having a party, and he just completely lost track of time. So there I am sitting there, like that little kid, probably crying.
He was lighting up the room, just killing it.
Yeah, he was on fire.
Yeah. So my dad ended up having to come out, pick me up, and I just remember the coaches sitting, and just everything about the whole situation was like utter. Like at the time, I was just happy that everything's fine, but a little bit later, thinking back on it, was just utter sadness. It was sad that these fine people were sitting here with me. My dad comes in late. Everything about it was just the saddest little story of this little tiny forgotten little leaguer with bad knees, bad Achilles tendon, and good hair back then, I guess.
What was their house like? The coach, was it a old farmhouse kind of looking thing?
Yeah, it was like a tiny little. I think it was like a rancher. I think it was like a tiny little rancher.
I thought it would be a double wide. So your dad was killing. What was your dad's like go to at a party? Would he like do Jackie Gleason or like what?
Oh, I thought it meant drink wise. I was gonna say Miller. My answer was Miller Lite. I don't know. My dad was a pretty funny dude, but
well, yeah. I mean, we've all been there. He got sidetracked because
he had an audience.
Yeah.
He had an audience.
Yeah.
Did he get in trouble?
Yeah.
With my mom?
Yeah.
pretty sure.
Yes.
You know what it was? Having that audience was your father's Achilles heel.
Oh, nice.